Insurgent is a 2012 science fiction young adult novel by American novelist Veronica Roth, the second book in the Divergent trilogy. As the sequel to the 2011 bestseller Divergent, it continues the story of Tris Prior and the dystopian post-apocalyptic version of Chicago. Following the events of the previous novel, a war now looms as conflict between the factions and their ideologies grows. While trying to save the people that she loves, Tris faces the haunting questions of grief, forgiveness, identity, loyalty, politics, and love. The book was first published on May 1, 2012 by the HarperCollins imprints Katherine Tegen Books in the US and HarperCollins Children's Books in the UK. A collector's edition was published on October 30 in the United States. Insurgent received mostly positive reviews from critics, with reviewers praising Roth's writing. Background. The background to the story, revealed in the first novel of the trilogy, explains how Chicago in the far future is divided into 5 factions: Abnegation, for the selfless; Amity, for the peaceful; Candor, for the honest; Dauntless, for the brave; and Erudite, for the intelligent. Those who are tested with the equal aptitude for more than one faction are deemed divergent. Due to their independent way of thinking, divergents are considered threats to the social order. Plot: Tris, 4, Caleb, Peter, and Marcus travel to Amity, where several surviving abnegation are settled in. Amity issues a statement that all factions may seek refuge there as long as they reside in peace. Erudite and dauntless traitors soon arrive at Amity to search for the abnegation. Tris, 4, Caleb, and Susan manage to escape and jump onto an oncoming train. The train car is full of armed factionists, along with the former Dauntless initiate Edward, who escorts them to a factionless safe zone. The group is led to the factionless leader, 4's mother Evelyn, who was previously thought to be dead. Tris overhears a conversation between 4 and Evelyn, during which Evelyn tells 4 that he needs to convince the Dauntless to join the factionless. During this encounter, Evelyn threatens Tris. Caleb and Susan move to a safe zone where more abnegation are living, while Tris and 4 travel to Candor headquarters. Upon reaching Candor, Tris and 4 are arrested and subjected to a truth serum trial. During the trial, 4 admits that he joined Dauntless to escape his father's abuse, and that he was going to leave Dauntless to be factionless after this last group of initiates, but he saw Tris and decided to protect her, and Tris admits her guilt and shooting Will. This angers 4 and Christina, who are unaware that Tris was Will's killer. The Candor are attacked by Dauntless traitors led by Eric. Many people are shot with a new simulation serum. Tris and Uriah, who is revealed to be Divergent, figure out what is happening and try to warn the remaining Divergent, but they are all captured by Eric. He plans, as instructed by Jeanine, to take 2 of the Divergent back to Erudite headquarters and execute the rest. As Tris injures Eric, the Dauntless burst into the room and take control. They figure out that the new serum allows Jeanine to subject the victims to simulations from great distances and that it won't wear off, giving the Erudite much greater control over the group. Following the attack, Candor leader Jack arranges a meeting with the Erudite, secretly observed by Tris, 4, Lynn, and Shauna. The Erudite, represented by Dauntless traitor Max, demand that Candor turn over Eric, the Divergent, and a list of those who did not receive the new serum injection. Tris figures out that Jeanine is controlling Max via earpiece and must be close by, but before she can act, Lynn shoots Max in the chest from her secret location. Tris, 4, Lynn, and Shauna run to escape the Dauntless traitors but run into Jeanine and her guards, one of whom is Peter, who allows them to escape. As they run away, Shauna is shot in the back and paralyzed. Back at Candor, 4 confronts Tris, telling her that she is being reckless with her life, and that they are finished if she continues to act as such. The Dauntless hold a secret meeting, and 4, Tori, and Harrison are elected as new leaders. They then put Eric on trial for his crimes. He is convicted, and Eric demands that 4 kill him, which he does with no guilt. The Dauntless return to their headquarters, and Tris and 4 meet with Evelyn and Edward. While Tris and 4 are leaving for the meeting, 4 tells her that one of his fears and his fear landscape changed. Instead of having to shoot a woman, he has to watch Tris die. 4 makes an agreement with the factionists to destroy the erudite and establish a new government. However, Tris doesn't trust Evelyn, who she feels abandoned to his father's abuse. That night, Christina and Tris discover a simulation that causes Dauntless members to step off the roof every 2 days unless a divergent is given to the erudite. They save a young girl and Lynn's brother, Hector, but Marlene plunges to her death. Tris is again overcome by grief and guilt. She flees the funeral ceremony, but Christina finds her and forgives her for what happened with Will, understanding that simulations make a person completely controlled by Jeanine. Tris later finds her way to 4's room, intent on sacrificing herself to erudite. He begs her to reconsider, and she agrees, but leaves for erudite at midnight while he sleeps. Tris walks into erudite headquarters, terrified but accepting of her fate. She agrees to Jeanine's testing as long as the results are explained to her. She is then subjected to an MRI and several simulations. She sees Caleb, who is now working for Jeanine, and is shocked at his betrayal. One evening, Tris encounters 4 in the hallway, and discovers that he tried to save her. They are taken to the execution chamber, where Jeanine injects Tris with a terror-inducing drug so that 4 will give up the locations of the factionist safe houses. Despite all her efforts, Jeanine cannot find a simulation to control Tris, and when Jeanine loses her temper, the two have an altercation. She then declares that Tris will die the next day. However, Peter, who is meant to be her executioner, helps her, to repay his debt of her saving his life at the Amity compound, and 4 escape from erudite instead. The 3 travel to the Abnegation Sector of the city, where the factionists and Dauntless have gathered. 4 leads Tris to his own house after Evelyn kicks Marcus out, and they admit their love for each other. Having been greatly affected by her near-death experience, Tris meanders around her old neighborhood. She bumps into Marcus, who convinces Tris that her parents died to save the information that Jeanine stole. He insists this information must be made public before the Dauntless factionist army destroy all data in their attack. Under disguise, Tris, Christina, and Marcus infiltrate Amity to update Johanna and ask for her help. She holds a meeting to inform the rest of Amity, and after the decision is reached to remain impartial, Johanna and several others choose to leave the faction. Tris and Christina speak with the erudite refugees living in Amity, including Will's sister Kara, who agrees to help with the mission to save the information that was stolen and transmit it to all factions. Traveling back to the city, Tris leads a group disguised as erudite to infiltrate the faction headquarters. Once they get in, Kara begins connecting the computers to transmit the data to other factions. After an encounter with Caleb, Tris and Marcus realize the data won't be on the main computer. Tris, Marcus, and Christina head up to Jeanine's private laboratory, after Tris remembers what Tori mentioned about security. On the way, the group runs into Edward. After a fight that disables Edward and Christina, Tris and Marcus reach an intersection. They split up, going into 2 different doorways. Tris enters a simulation that forces her to fight herself. Realizing she is more desperate than her simulation counterpart, she forces the simulation to give her a gun, and, facing her guilt over Will, she shoots and kills her simulation self. When she walks into the laboratory, she finds Tori screaming at Jeanine to acknowledge her brother, a Divergent, who was killed on Jeanine's command. Tris disarms Tori, and after a struggle, she attempts to explain that she wants Tori not to kill Jeanine so that they can obtain the information from her computer. Tori refuses and stabs Jeanine in the stomach, killing her. Tori calls Tris a traitor and attempts to have her taken into custody, while 4 confronts her about aligning with Marcus. Yuri escorts Tris downstairs, and as they reach the holding area for the surviving erudite, Kanda, and Dauntless, they find an injured Lynn, and comfort her as she dies. Evelyn announces the institution of a new factionless government and society. The Dauntless begin to protest but find themselves powerless, as their weapons have been taken by the factionless. Caleb, Marcus, and 4 then enter the room, and 4 talks to Tris. They kiss and reconcile, and Tris hopes all the secrets between them are gone for good. Screens in the room begin to play the information retrieved by 4 and Caleb, an old video featuring a woman named Amanda Ritter, who later takes the identity of Edith Pryor, from an organization fighting for justice and peace. Amanda vaguely explains that the world had become corrupt. The city was sealed away from the rest of the world, but when those identified as Divergent had increased in numbers, the Amity are to open the fence forever and the population should re-enter the world. As the video ends, the room erupts into voices. The setting takes place in a dystopian Chicago in the far future, where Lake Michigan has turned into a giant marsh. The Cantor compound surrounds a ruined merchandise mart. The Amity live on farms, located outside a fence that surrounds the city. Their central meeting area is a building with a great tree in the center. The Dauntless Compound is the combination of a glass building and a deep cave underneath it, nicknamed the Pit. The Abnegation Sector is a cookie-cutter neighborhood, where everything looks alike. The Erudite Compound is in a futuristic part of the city, including the former site of Grant Park, and the buildings are very advanced. Themes: some of the major themes covered in the book include rebellion, romance, bravery, courage, friendship, betrayal, the search for individual identity and heroism. Critical reception: Insurgent received mostly positive reviews from critics. Trade publication Publisher Weekly received the novel enthusiastically. Roth knows how to write. So even though this second book of the trilogy that began with Divergent feels like a necessary bridge between the haunting story she created in Book 1 and the hinted-at chaos of Book 3, readers will be quick to forgive. The author has a subtle way of pulling readers into a scene, and the novella unregistered trademark love story, intricate plot, and unforgettable setting work in concert to deliver a novel that will rivet fans of the first book. Kirkus Reviews said the unrelenting suspense piles pursuit upon betrayal upon torture upon pitched battles. The violence is graphic, grisly and shockingly indiscriminate. The climactic reveal, hinting at the secret origins of their society, is neither surprising nor particularly plausible, but the frenzied response makes for another spectacular cliffhanger. Roth has admitted a number of continuity errors in Insurgent, an after-effect of overlapping novel drafts. Awards and nominations: Insurgent won Favorite Young Adult Fantasy and Science Fiction and Author of 2012 and 2012's Goodreads Choice Awards. It was also nominated at Children's Choice Book Awards for Teen Book of the Year and Author of the Year. Film adaptation: Brian Duffield of Jane Got a Gun was originally chosen to write the adaptation script for the Divergent series, Insurgent. The film is scheduled to be released on March 20, 2015. Its predecessor, Divergent, was released on March 21, 2014. On December 16, 2013, it was announced that Neil Berger, director of Divergent, would not return to direct Insurgent, due to him still working on the first film. Akiva Goldsman has been hired to rewrite Duffield's script and Robert Schwenk has now been hired to replace Berger as the director. The film is produced by Lucy Fisher, Pauya Shibazian and Douglas Wick, with a screenplay by Brian Duffield. It stars Shailene Woodley, Theo James, Maggie Q, G. Courtney, Christian Madsen, Mekhi Phifer, Ben Lamb, Octavia Spencer and Kate Winslet. Insurgent began filming in Atlanta on May 27, 2014. References. External links: Publishers Weekly on Insurgent,